Hey guys, welcome back to Daniel Rosehill Plus here on YouTube. My name is Daniel Rosehill. Today I wanted to share a quick video or quickish video about using YouTube and a couple of ways that I think people can use YouTube a lot more effectively and take advantage of the fact that YouTube is a social network. These are things that I've personally found very effective for making connections with people through YouTube, whether those are personal connections or potential business connections, and that I see a lot of people who I've worked with on YouTube marketing projects not doing. So I thought I would share a couple of thoughts in this regard. So this little presentation is called YouTube is a Social Network, as well as why that matters and how to use that to your advantage. And the main thing that I wanted to kind of get across here is people tend to not think of YouTube as a social network. At least that's been my experience. We think of Facebook and other platforms that have video as a prominent component, like Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. We do think of those as social networks, but for some reason people kind of think of YouTube a bit differently. And what I wanted to do here was just kind of explain why that is a mistake and how you can leverage its sociability to your online advantage. So here are two what I suggest to be suboptimal ways to think about YouTube that are very tempting and that I've myself fallen into these kind of thinking patterns, but they distract from a lot of the value that's inherent there. The first one is, well, YouTube, it's just a place to store a ton of videos. And I put a little footnote here saying that's true, but it's missing a big part of the value. YouTube is actually a crazy good deal when you actually think about it in terms of how much storage YouTube give you. Videos tend to be big files, bigger than audio files, a lot bigger than text files. And YouTube just kind of gives you a place to just put tons and tons of video content, store those, and it'll stream them in a nice way. It'll even, optimize the resolution if people are accessing your videos from somewhere with not great internet speeds. So YouTube, for asking no money, and by YouTube I really mean Google, but let's just keep calling it YouTube here because that's the product. YouTube offers you a crazy good deal. So it's tempting to think, well, we're an organization and let's just say we're a business school and we record lectures and we want to make those available to get people interested in our business school. So yeah, we'll just pull it all on YouTube. And that is certainly legitimate, but you by just thinking of it as a big place to dump video, you will be missing out on some of the value that I'm trying to highlight in this presentation. And the second one is it's a video hosting platform. And indeed, YouTube is a video hosting platform, but it's these add-on social features that distinguish it from stuff that are just video hosting platforms, such as, so I was putting Vimeo here as a classic example of a platform that people really use just for video hosting, but they do have social features kind of available there. You can turn on comments, but very few people in my experience use it like that. And when people think of Vimeo, they think of a place where you can just basically put up videos for hosting, right? Very common for creative professionals like actors or video editors to host their reels on Vimeo because it's not intended to be social really. So you don't have to worry about, forgetting to turn on the comments functions. By default, comments are disabled on Vimeo. By default, they're enabled on YouTube. And that difference is very telling about what these do differently. Now, another thing you can do, the DIY method, is if you're just interested in having a place to host videos, you can really do this yourself with minimal technology. You just need video storage and a front end. And what that means is something like a WordPress website, and you can just upload videos. The problem with trying to replicate what YouTube offers for free is that videos are quite heavy, as I've mentioned, and you might find that your hosting costs associated with storing videos are expensive. But from a technical perspective, the act of putting video files on some server somewhere on the internet and, playing them through some basic front-end technology like WordPress, it's really not so complicated. So if all you want to do is find a place to host videos and stream videos, you don't need YouTube at all. And so it's those additional features that are really worth highlighting. Netflix, again, it's not community focused, right? if you think about it, people go onto Netflix, you go on to watch content. There aren't features baked into Netflix, like you don't have a Netflix wall, you don't have a add Netflix friends, right? Netflix have never gone down that route of putting sociability or social features into the platform. You have your Netflix lists, your watch list, your favorite list, but it's very much kind of a closed online space. Okay? And YouTube is not that. So it's these additional features that I'm trying to highlight here and saying, if you just want hosting. So what does YouTube offer as that really makes it, distinguishes it from these other platforms and really makes it worthy of being called a social network? And then we'll look at how we can leverage that to our advantage. So the social functions, firstly, channels, right? YouTube allows you to create a lot of channels for each Google account. You do need a Google account to get going on YouTube, but once you have a Google account, you can create a lot of different channels there, linked under what Google calls a brand account. So basically, once you get a Gmail, you can create a lot of channels, or just one channel, it doesn't really matter, but you can have a kind of profile that anyone can access. Now, to kind of be a bit simplistic here for people who don't really understand the ins and outs of how this platform works, you don't need any Google account to access YouTube. And I think that's a really, really big strength of YouTube versus social networks like TikTok and Instagram that are a lot more closed off behind a login. YouTube is very open. You can send someone a YouTube link or a channel link, and they don't need to be signed into Google or have a Google account. They may not want a Google account on some kind of principle grounds. So really, you do need a Google account to set up on YouTube, but anyone in the world where YouTube is available, that's not quite everywhere, but almost everywhere, is going to be able to access your stuff. So the very easiest way to kind of stamp your mark on YouTube and start showing people what you're about is to set up a channel. I'm going to talk here in this video about subscriptions because I think it's very, very important that it's a great way of sort of creating connections with other creators. Signal your interest in other creators' works by publicly following them and seeing who follows you. And I'm going to explain just in a second why it's so important to do this, because, well, I won't give the spoiler. Comments engage with other creators and your audience. So when you leave comments, you basically are opening a discussion with someone else on YouTube. It could be a small influencer or a very big influencer. Naturally, the bigger people get, the harder it can be to get on the radar. But certainly for, relatively small channels, as the operator myself of a small YouTube channel with just over 2,200 subscribers, I'm at a level where I get about, kind of a trickle of comments every day. And I've actually sort of developed a couple of relationships from responding to people on YouTube, like real relationships. I got beer last week with a guy who watches my videos, and it's cool. So it was a lot of fun. So here's my tip. Number one, make your subscriptions on YouTube public. And I just want to point out here that once you do this, there's no way to change your subscription visibility on a per channel basis. So it's like turned on for everything. So I don't know, if you are subscribing to like stuff that you wouldn't want people to know you subscribe to, then you might want to consider creating another brand identity. So having like your YouTube account as for your user, and then when you change into your YouTube channel's brand identity, the menu here that I'm trying to highlight with my mouse, it's just under account settings, and you're going to have then into privacy, then you'll have a button called subscriptions. Keep all my subscriptions private. Your subscriptions won't be visible to others unless you use features that make them public. Very important to note that by default, your subscriptions are private. So you actually need to disable that setting like I've done here in order to make them public. And once you have made them public, other people on YouTube will be able to see, hey, this is a subscriber. That's a reason to do this. And again, if you want to do this in order to signal your interest in other creators, but you don't necessarily want to make everything public, then I recommend just changing the setting on your YouTube channel and on your YouTube account, not doing that. So here's the big reason why this button is really important, even though it's just a little sort of selection button in YouTube's menu. You need to have your subscriptions public for the people who you follow on YouTube to know you're subscribing to them. So I took a screenshot out of my YouTube dashboard here, or YouTube Studio, and I can see who's subscribing to me. Not everyone, but the people who've made their subscription to me public, right? This is just kind of over the last 7-day period. I can see, okay, these are who these channels are. And sometimes, I should probably do this more often, I'll go in and check out their YouTube channels and I can see who they are, which is kind of cool. So I just screenshotted the help text on YouTube here. It says, who can I see here? So they have to be public in order for you to see them. Okay. So just to reiterate, this little switchy thing in your YouTube makes your subscriptions public, and then the people who you're watching can see you. And if you don't do this, they can't. So ideas for further engagement: make your subscribers public to broadcast your interest to those creators. If you're a creator, check this list recently to see who these folks are who's subscribing to you. And if you're a creator, consider subscribing to your subscribers and reaching out to them, thanking them for subscribing to you. So I haven't, as you can see, really done this myself in my last batch of subscribers. But if you see someone interesting, check out their content and list your email address on your YouTube and see if they have theirs listed, and then you can get in contact with people. And again, I'm not thinking of anything specific here. I'm talking about maybe making business relationships, finding people you might be able to collaborate with, potential interview subjects you might want to interview on your YouTube channel because your interests are really aligned, all these kind of things. So when you do that to your subscriptions, they're public, and as you can see, really everyone can see everything you subscribe to. I subscribe to tons and tons and tons of YouTube channel, and everyone can really just go in. And I actually don't mind that at all. As you can see, I've subscribed to Tyga here, as well as Personal Finance Insider, and a few other YouTube channels. And when you go into deepen your sort of engagement with other YouTubers, you can see who they subscribe to and find other channels you might be interested in. So just to kind of drive the point home about why commenting and engaging with creators is so important. So let's say you've stuck with the default setting of your subscriptions being private, and you don't comment, even though you really love a creator, you never comment on their videos. You just kind of like enjoy them and close your computer and whatever. They don't know that you exist. That's something that I always find interesting. I've had people come up to me. My subscriber count at the time of recording this video is like 2,200 subscribers, but I don't know who the vast majority of those people are. You can sort of guess by the analytics info on my Google, but basically I really kind of just, they're ghosts to me. And I've had people actually come up, friends of friends, who say, oh, I watch your videos on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Which ones do you like? Why are you subscribed to my channel? Etc. And you can get info about what's resonating with people and what's not resonating with people. But it just to point out for creators, you probably don't know who the vast majority of your watchers are, because most people are going to stick with just not change this default privacy setting here. You're not going to know they're a subscriber. They're probably never going to be motivated enough to leave a comment. So they're going to remain totally anonymous. So that's really important to know, is that you, by default, don't really know who's watching your YouTube videos. And all these tips that I'm sort of sharing are ideas for you to get better ideas and build relationships with your audience. So here are some concrete ideas. Again, make them public. If you check your subscriber and reach out to them. So build community and get on other creators' radars. Reverse engineer the default invisibility of the YouTube subscription process by opening up your YouTube subscriptions, making them public, commenting on other creators' videos. This is why I do this. Partially because I know it's kind of sometimes a bit demotivating to make a video and have no one leave comments. So sometimes I'll often just like comment on videos saying that was great. And, you know, I would usually say that it kind of feels like a waste of time. Why do you need to do that? But from the other side of the equation, the creator side of the equation, it shows who you are. They can, if you leave a comment, they can click into your profile. It opens up the possibility for engagement or community to build, as opposed to just doing nothing, in which case you can be totally invisible, as I've mentioned. and doing this all builds community. These are kind of really the kernel of my tips. There is one thing that I just kind of stuck in here at the end as an afterthought, that there is a community tab on YouTube, and it's a relatively new feature, and it's kind of like a public wall where you can post to your subscribers and post polls and stuff like that. And that's a nice feature. It's a nice add-on feature, but I was trying here to focus on ways to sort of access the untapped community, the community that you may not know about that is there on YouTube. So this is certainly valuable as well. Use the community tab, but consider doing all of these things, because you will dredge up people who you don't know about, and just continue building relationships. Don't think of YouTube just as a place to slap up videos and host them for free, even though it is that. There's a lot more potential to it. And when you start making use of these social features, you can get a lot more value out of your presence there, whether you're just a personal creator or a business on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. Feel free to leave a comment if you enjoyed this video. Have a great day.